So over here in the Shar Kavanos, Tiva Kavanos, if we want to think back to the time when the Rav came to Tzfat and he met Chaim Vital, and all this tremendous information came to Chaim Vital, and without getting into details, over the course of time it was published. Then we have many, many different versions of it. And it all comes, we have a Medur Basra, we have a Medur Kama, and a Medur Tinyana, we have an Otzvas Chaim. It goes on. There are many, many different lists of Brit Eitz Chaim, and here we have Shar Kavanos. And the reason why is there's a different kinds of procedures and different kinds of places we can apply these things, but also they have different relationships because everything is relative. And as we say in other shiurim, the only reason why we know that the Earth is really moving at approximately 1,000 miles an hour in a circle is because relatively to other planets, particularly the Sun, it's moving in tandem with it. But the Sun is also moving. So the Sun is moving. How do we know it's moving? Well, once again, it's relative to other planets. Everything is relative. And here we are in the world of relativity. So the Tiva Kavanos, it's just developed in such a way that we have such a tremendous wealth of all of the things which are good, but unfortunately of too many things which are not. But the Tiv is a tremendously good thing, because a guy from the Midwest like me, who has no background at all, but a little ability with languages, can open up the Tiv. And even though I don't get it at one time, I don't get it at two times, and I get a little bit more at the third, and you just keep going on and seeing it from different perspectives of the same language. It's the same thing. All about Yichud, coming close, the David Hashem, all of these things. So here we have the Tiva Kavanos by this Rabbi Rabinovitz. So let me just show you what we went through the last time real quickly. The normal process of building up the Malchus. This is what we want to do. We live in Malchus, so what we want to do is want to build it up. The Mochin come into Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin goes to sleep, and the Mochin go out, and they go into Rachel. We'll talk about this a little bit more. So to understand the Mochin come from Abba Ve'ima, basically. That is, from Chochmah and Bina. They come in, now since they were not going into Zer Anpin, and they left Zer Anpin, now they both go into Rachel Imenu, who is also known as Malchus, and we'll talk about some of the detail here. Now let's look at this little drawing here and see if this can help. This drawing at the top, from this section of the drawing, is designed to show you how it is that we talk about Ima going to Zer Anpin, but hidden inside of Ima is Abba. So here we have Abba, inside is this little tube inside of Bina, which is the bigger tube. And these tubes represent the Yesod, right? I have the written over here too. The Yesod of Abba Ve'ima come into Zer Anpin and penetrate, that is the extension of their Yesod, which is called the Ataras Yesod, penetrates all the way to the chest of Zer Anpin. At which place there's a big opening there, and all the lights that are inside of Ima come out. But the tube, which represents Abba, continues on. And it goes all the way down into the Yesod of Zer Anpin, and that is where it stops. Now this is a rule in all of Kabbalah. It's something that can be a tremendous help for us to understand that Abba and Ima always ride together, but the female protects the male. And that's the truth now, it is truth always. That's why one of the reasons why the Kabbalists feel a person should be married, because without you're vulnerable in a lot of different kinds of ways. So a person is only whole, that's what they said, when they're married, with all the difficulties that marriages has, but this is the place of creation. And the Kabbalists even say that the difficulties are part of the creative process. Now let's go over to this. Let's find out, in drawing matter, what happens with Mordechai. Who is Mordechai? So we come over here and we'll say like this. This was Zer Anpin. Okay, this is Zah. And the Mochin were in, this is Zah's chest, and the Mochin come back out. Both the Mochin of Abba and the Mochin of Eva come out. But we had mentioned in the previous drawing, and this is a really important idea to know and to try to maintain, that the Yesod of Abba is much longer than the Yesod of Ima. So that the Yesod of Ima now comes into Rachel, right? So because all of this is the Asodas of Abba ve'Ima are now coming into Rachel. One more drawing. Let me see if I can make this drawing. There's a picture of Rachel. Okay, let's pretend that Rachel looks like this, and the Mochim are now coming back into Rachel. They were used to be in Zer Anpin, and now they're coming into Rachel, and here's Rachel's chest. So just like we said before, is the Mochim that come from Ima are short; they stop at the chest. But the Mochim that come from Abba, that's on the right side, are long. They are so long that they're longer, if you can see this other one, than what projected down to the bottom of Zer Anpin. So that they actually go through the Yesod of Rachel, of Ima, or Malchus. This is Malchus, also known as Rachel. Okay? This is a tremendous light. It's the light which is called Mordechai. Because it is no longer covered. It's out, powerful, and shining. This is the Purim that we are headed for. Now let's look a little bit in the Tivik Avonis itself. Try to find a place. Read a little bit. So last time I read this, but I didn't know what it meant, so I'm going to hopefully get some help here from the Tivik Avonos. So we hear the Bir Hashem Mordechai. Let's talk, who is Mordechai? So we just showed in pictorial who Mordechai represents. He's the Ataris of the Yesod of Abba that has no covering, and it's shining the brilliant light of creation, really, at the time of Purim. So he said, V'zecha b'nirmaz b'shem Mordechai mamish. So I wrote in here that the name Mordechai is a gematria 2274. I don't know how that's going to work, so let's see. Shalom Rabbi Saint Zal, the rabbis have this quote, Shahu Lashon Mira Dachya. Now Mira sounds like the word mar, which is bitter. I don't know. Then he writes again, Mar Dachi. So it's another something like this. So these different words, we need definitions. V'hu Targum Mar Deror. Then it's also called this substance or this spice called Mar Deror. Gam Nikra Mor Over. So it's also by this name. So we have this word Mar, Mor. And it's of an Indian who is like this. So which we had said, that this tremendous light, let's look at it again, that comes out from the Yesod of Abba, which has no covering, as it's this area of the Yesod of Abba is also shining. But it is least covered by the body of Malchus. But once it comes out, and we have it over here, it's long, and so therefore it penetrates all the way through, and it's outshining with no covering at all. It's really important to remember this. So now we have these words, we try to figure it out. So he says, Ki ha'ara hagadayla haki, which is Mordechai. He said, he mar dror. So it's this incense, this spice. Zak, benaki, so it's pure, refined, clean, betachlis, ultimately refined and clean. The nook which comes out, sticks out from the yesod of the nook, the lechutz, and it goes out. The yesod pasuk, v'yadi, my have not fu mar gathered or put together, mar over. Now this pasuk, let's see what here we are right here. Let's read the light print. So Nirmas Kal Zecha B'Masha Amra Chazal, the rabbi said like this, Mordechai minatera minayim. Where do we know Mordechai from the Torah? Dechsev mar deror, because it says bitter freedom. Now, exactly what that means. Matarga minim miridachia. So here's another Aramaic version. Venir mezbezem. The shorsh nishmaso shel Mordechai. You want to know where the root of the neshama of Mordechai HaTzadik was? Whom ha'aras malchus the Abba comes from the malchus of Abba, which is of course the teres yesod of Abba, which penetrates and sticks out from the yesod of the nukva. He says that they had an aura that comes from that malchus of Abba. She ha'ara gadoyla chad ma'od, which is tremendously powerful light. V'dimo ha'ara zuchel v'vosim anikra more, and it's compared to the spice which is called more. The drawer, also called drawer, pirusha naki. Drawer means, he says it means, I said it meant freedom, but it's in the Hebrew. The drawer here means clean. So it's like pure. This light is completely pure with no dinim at all. Now, if you listen to Shiurim in the morning, we understand that the origin of dinim is the color red. There's no red here. V'gam nirmas, and also it represents b'mash and ember b'shir hashirim. What's it said in Shir Hashirim? It says v'yadi notful more. That's bosai more over. What does that mean? Shepirusho reach tov shel baisim. This is something that is extremely sweet, extremely fragrant, extremely pleasant. She'over or mispashet l'kol sad. It passes through. It spreads to every side. Sharoma's gam came al malchus de Abba, which is a reference also to the malchus of Abba, which understand a malchus of Abba is his ateris yisod, which we are explaining here, which penetrates all the way through the yisod. This is her yisod of malchus. Once again, malchus. That's what it is. She'over mispasha the called side, and then from there it goes everywhere. That light spreads every place. This is the light that we are moving towards now. Sheromes gam came al malchus the Abba, which is a reference to the malchus of Abba, his ataris yisod. Kashovera v'yotze b'picha yisod the nook v'lachutz, when passes through the yisod of the nook. That is the light of Mordechai, and we'll see more when we get to the next year. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kola. Where are you?